So we are reading from Adi Leela chapter 14 entitled Lord Chaitanya's Childhood Pastimes, and this is text 62. Ekadina Vallabhacharya Kanya Lakshmi Nam Devata Pujite Aila Kori Ganga Snan. One day, a girl of the name Lakshmi, the daughter of Vallabhacharya, came to the bank of the Ganges to take a bath in the river and worship the demigods. Purport. According to the Gaur Ganodesh Deepika, text 45, Lakshmi was formerly Janki, the wife of Lord Ramchandra, and Rukmini, the wife of Lord Krishna in Dwarka. The same goddess of fortune descended as Lakshmi to become the wife of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this calls for some explanation. What do we mean by saying that God has a wife? Does it mean God has children? God has a home. God has a business. God has a dog, a collie, or a pooch. What do you know? So people get confused, and one of the allegations against Vedic wisdom by Western scholars, now Indian scholars, is that why do you attribute these so-called uh, human emotions or human frailties, human defects rather, on God? So we have our defense mechanism, we have our statements. God has a job, so to say, but God doesn't need a job. God has a wife, but God doesn't need a wife. You name it, and everything Krishna does, but not out of necessity. As plain and simple as the food we eat and the water we drink. We say, oh, I like this particular drink, therefore I always go to the supermarket and get that particular brand. But why do you have to drink? Whether it's a soft drink or whatever. Well, my material body is thirsty. So this thirst is called in one Vedic scripture like a whip. Somebody gives you a whack on your backside and you need to jump and do something. I am happy with my job. Why do you need to work but? Well, doesn't everyone? So the Upanishads, the cream of Vedic wisdom, they say God is someone for whom there is no one to tell, hey, get up and do that. Na tasya karyam karanam cha vidyate. There is no authority who can tell him, you have to create the material world. If Krishna doesn't want, he may not create. And what happens to us who need a material world for our material desires? We just lie inert somewhere. So the biggest difference, and this is a important aspect to understand, that all the things that humans and animals and demigods and everyone they do out of necessity. They do because they want to fulfill something. And when you say fulfill, I want to fill something, that means it is empty now, isn't it? A male will seek a female. We may say it is natural. Well, a female needs a male, that also is natural. In God, we have both aspects. He doesn't go out and seek female association on websites or matrimonials or whatever. So when people see Krishna Radha, Lakshmi Vishnu or Lakshmi Narayan, Ram and Sita, please, please, please do not consider them as one is male and other is female and they are separate. No, sir. They are one and the same. The male and female are both contained in one supreme absolute truth. So, why does the one become two? For the sake of enjoyment. If I need a family, I need to go and seek out a wife or a husband. Then I expand. So I am imitating Krishna, like the way Krishna expands. Of course, sometimes or many times, or maybe all the time, at one point of time, a person says, why did I bother with this family? It is so unwieldy and unnatural, and we don't get along, and nobody likes me, and nobody agrees with me. Of course, these are fleeting moments. Sometimes you feel like that. Sometimes you feel happy that no, I have this family. So this notion that I don't need them is a result of material atmosphere, where the mind goes from one end of the pendulum to the other. Oh, I want, I want, I want. And after something happens, your sense gratification is not satisfied. Oh, I don't want, I don't want, I don't want. So these are the things which happen with you and me. They don't happen with Krishna. That is the most important point to remember. So we have in the Ramayana, Gary Prabhu, have you heard of the Ramayana story?
No, Prabhuji, I have not.
No, you have not heard. So this is the story of Krishna's incarnation as Lord Ram. Have you heard of Lord Ram at least?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So maybe I'll suggest some online text where you can read the gist or the summary of the Rama story. It's a very popular story all over India. I mean, many of us came from a typical Indian background. So, Lord Rama's story, Lord Krishna's story is something which we grew up with, but not Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is mostly known in that part of India, which is Bengal and Odisha. But now Srila Prabhupada brought that whole wisdom all over the world with temples and festivals and like that. So here we are beginning to understand how Lord Chaitanya or Lord Ram or Krishna, they are always described as having their eternal consorts. Consort means a companion. So when Ram sees Sita, he's not seeing her for the first time. He is meeting his own eternal counterpart. When Krishna meets Radha, we may say this is the first time. There is no first time. There is no second time. There is no last time. Because nothing, there is no separation. Some of the ladies here could understand that. I don't know whether in Andhra culture, at least I am from Maharashtra, so there is one particular festival where the girl is told that you have to pray that I get the same husband for 7 lifetimes. Anybody remembers? Yeah. See, all you husbands are very happy that, wow, she wants me for 7 lifetimes. But sometimes if you ask your wives honestly, they may say, oh, well, it is difficult. Only if you behave nicely, then it is one more time. But seven, goodness. There was a cultural kind of a environment where what is the benefit of this kind of thing? 7 lifetimes. It means even if you have some mundane adjustments to be done, you don't like the way she makes this particular dish, she doesn't like the way you behave in public. We all have our faults, we all have our discrepancies, but this culture trains us to accept people as they are, to some extent at least. It's not like one small discrepancy and you say, okay, it's done, I can't stay here, which is prevalent in today's culture. So there is a lot of independence, lot of freedom. So psychologists are asking the question, there is freedom, there is independence, but is there happiness as a result of that? That is going down. Of course, we are not going to go in this big psychological issue here, but there is a reason why in every Vedic wedding ceremony, the groom is described as Vishnu's representation, and he is told that you should see your wife as Lakshmi's representation. I remember there is one custom in Maharashtra when the bride is entering her new home for the first time. So they bring a small container containing grains. That container is kept right on the veranda. That means right uh, that particular door, which is a main door for entry into that house. And with her right foot, she kind of upturns that container and all that grain is scattered. Anybody knows this? Okay. What is the significance of this? Oh, you don't know? You did that and you don't know what is the significance?
No, Prabhuji, we don't do in Andhra, but lot of movies we saw.
Okay. Yes, movies are our Vedas today. They tell us, teach us, guide us, entertain us. They do everything for us. The understanding is because you are now a symbol of Lakshmi, the eternal companion of Vishnu, just like this small container of grains is, all the grains are scattered. This is how you will be bringing prosperity in our house. And therefore, we welcome you with open hearts, open hands, open minds, like that. So, apart from the symbolic wisdom, this kind of understanding of God in his male and female aspects is very much entrenched, is like all pervading throughout Vedic wisdom. And this is Krishna, this is God. So whenever he does something, he makes it very interesting, very exciting. It is not like the Lord sees his consort in this new incarnation and she says, ah, I know him. Yeah, we are eternally related. No, there is drama, there is romance, there is adventure. Like Rukmini, she is feeling, will Krishna accept my proposal to marry me? Maybe he won't. Maybe he's already having many more beautiful and many more other important and grand connections with other people. Maybe he won't accept me. But then Krishna comes and he kidnaps her. So this is my last point here. What is the glory in getting married to somebody who is eternally your wife? Because it's a pastime. It's called Leela. And when you and me discuss these things, we learn these things with our intelligence, the scriptures guarantee us your intelligence gets purified. Now, that is something we want, right? We want pure intelligence to understand how to live in this world, how to make sense of things. So, this purification is possible by spending years and years in the Himalayan mountains, lifelong celibacy vows, strictly eating only once a day, taking a vow of silence for 6 months or so. These are also Vedic prescriptions. But who's going to do that in today's time? Who has the energy? Who has the inclination? Who has the guidance? That same result, that is purification of the mind and the heart, can be achieved by just remembering these sweet stories, these sweet pastimes. So quickly, any response, any questions before I move on to the main part of the story? Okay, so I go ahead. All right. So we saw text 62 that this girl named Lakshmi is described as the same Janaki, that is Sita and Rukmini. Text 63. Tare dekhi prabhur hoila sabhila shaman Lakshmi chitte prita paila prabhur darshan. Seeing Lakshmi Devi, the Lord became attached to her. And Lakshmi, upon seeing the Lord, felt great satisfaction within her mind. Sahajik priti duhar karila uday Balya bhavachanna tabu haila nischay. Their natural love for each other awakened, and although it was covered by childhood emotions, it became apparent that they were mutually attracted. Purport. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lakshmi Devi are eternal husband and wife. We just saw this. I gave this small discussion based on this one statement. I continue now. Therefore, it was quite natural for their dormant love to awaken when they saw each other. Their natural feelings were immediately awakened by their meeting. Text 65. Duha dekhi duhar chitte haila ullas. Deva puja chale kaila duhe parakash. They both enjoyed natural pleasure in seeing each other, and under the pretext of demigod worship, they manifested their feelings. Text 66. Prabhu kahe ama puja ami maheshwara amare pujele pabe abhipsita vara. The Lord told Lakshmi, just worship me, for I am the Supreme Lord. If you worship me, certainly you will get the benediction you desire. Purport. This is the same philosophy declared by Lord Krishna himself. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 1866. People do not understand this. They are accustomed to flattering or worshipping many demigods, human beings, or even cats and dogs. But when requested to worship the Supreme Lord, they refuse. This is called illusion. Factually, if one worships the Supreme Lord, there is no need to worship anyone else. For example, in a village of a limited area, one may use different wells for different purposes. But when one goes to a river where there is water constantly flowing in waves, that water can serve all his purposes. When there is a river, one can take drinking water, wash his clothes, bathe, and so on, for that water will serve all purposes. Similarly, if one worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, all his goals will be achieved. Kamaisthaiste ritagyana prapadyante anyadevata. Only men who have lost their intelligence worship the various demigods to fulfill their desires. Bhagavad Gita 7.20. Text 67. Lakshmitar angedila pushpa chandan Mallikara mala diya karila vandan. On hearing the order of the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lakshmi immediately worshipped him, offering sandalwood pulp and flowers for his body, garlanding him with mallika flowers and offering prayers. Text 68. Prabhutar puja paya hosite lagila, shloka padi tar bhav angikara kaila. Being worshipped by Lakshmi, the Lord began to smile. He recited a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam and thus accepted the emotion she expressed. The verse quoted in the connection is the 25th verse of the 22nd chapter, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The gopis worshipped goddess Durga or Katyayani, but their inner desire was to get Lord Krishna as their husband. Krishna as Paramatma could realize the ardent desire of the gopis, and therefore he enjoyed the pastime of Vastra Harana. When the gopis went to bathe in the river Yamuna, they left their garments on the land and dipped into the water completely naked. Taking this opportunity, Krishna stole all their garments and sat down in the top of a tree with them, desiring to see the girls naked just to become their husband. The gopis desired to have Krishna as their husband, and since it is only before her husband that a woman can be naked, to fulfill their desire, Lord Krishna accepted their prayers by this pastime of stealing their garments. When the gopis received their garments back from Krishna, Krishna recited this verse, which is what we are having now at day 69. Sankalpo vidita sadvyo bhavatina madarchanam mayanumoditas susau satyo bhavitum arhati. Translation: My dear gopis, I accept your desire to have me as your husband and thus worship me. I wish your desire to be fulfilled because it deserves to be so. Purport: The gopis, the girlfriends of Krishna, were almost of the same age as he. Within their minds, they desired that Krishna be their husband, but because of feminine bashfulness, they could not express their desire. Therefore, later on, after stealing their garments, Krishna informed them, I immediately understood your desire and approved of it. Because I have now stolen your garments, you have presented yourselves before me completely naked, which means that I have accepted all of you as my wives. Sometimes, foolish rascals, not knowing the purpose of the Lord or the purpose of the gopis, unnecessarily criticize from their own angle of vision. But the real purpose of Vasraharan is expressed by the Lord in this verse. Text 70. Ei matta lila kari duhe gela ghare gambhir chaitanya lila ke bujite pare. After thus expressing their feelings to each other, Lord Chaitanya and Lakshmi returned home. Who can understand the grave pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So this concludes Lord Chaitanya meeting with Lakshmi, and Prabhupada has given a very succinct, but he has given the background, he has also given the warning that one of the dangers of reading Krishna Leela is you may feel Krishna is like an ordinary human being, Krishna is like a mortal, and Prabhupada says do not commit that mistake. Hear about Krishna from an authorized representative, give it some time. Some of the pastimes are very easy to understand, some of the pastimes take a lot of time to understand, but the common thing is they are all purificatory. We may have, sometimes it is explained that Krishna Leela, Rama Leela, or the Lord's pastimes are like a buffet. There are 300 items spread over the food court. You have a choice. It's not like you don't have a choice. You don't need to see what somebody is taking. Oh, everybody is eating this, I should eat that. Not necessarily. Within the food court of Krishna pastimes, choose whichever you like, properly understand them, choose something properly, digest it, you will get strength. And later at a certain stage, you'll understand all of the pastimes are wonderful. So that is the state which we are yet to achieve, but that's the background. So if we don't have any comments or questions, I would request someone else to continue reading from the next words.
I will read, Prabhuji.
Sure, go ahead.
Text 71. चैतन्य चापल्य देखी प्रेमे सर्वजना सच्ची जगन्नाथे देखी देना ओलाहना. Translation: When the neighboring people saw the naughty behavior of Lord Chaitanya, out of love for him, they lodged complaints with Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra. एकदिन एकदिन सची देवी पुत्रे रे भक्तिशिया धारी बारे गेला putra gela paliya. One day, Mother Sachi went to catch her son, wanting to rebuke him, but he fled from the spot. Uchista gate kyakta hadira upara Basiyachena Suke Prabhu Deva Vishwambhara. Although he is the maintainer of the entire universe, once the Lord sat upon some rejected pots in the pit where the remnants of food were thrown, after the pots had been used for cooking. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Formerly, it was the custom of Brahmanas to worship Lord Vishnu daily at home and cook food in new pots. This system is still going on in Jagannath Puri. The food would be cooked in the earthen pots, all fresh and new, and after cooking, the pots would be thrown away. By the side of the house, there was generally a big pit where such pots were thrown. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down on the pots very pleasingly just to give his mother a lesson. Text 74. सच्चियासी कहे केना औसुचि छुनीला गंगा स्नाना कराई अपवित्र हईला. When Mother Sachi saw her boy sitting on the rejected pots, she protested, "Why have you touched these untouchable pots? You have now become impure. Go and bath in the Ganges." इहा सुनी माता के कैला ब्रह्म ज्ञाना विश्वामिता हैय माता करीला स्नाना. Hearing this, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught his mother about absolute knowledge. Although amazed by this, his mother forced him to take a bath. The absolute knowledge explained by the Lord to his mother is described by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Pravaha Bhasya as follows. The Lord said, "Mother, that this is pure and this is impure is surely a worldly sentiment with no basis in fact. You have cooked food for Lord Vishnu within these pots and offered the Lord to him. How then can these pots be untouchable? Everything in relationship with Vishnu is to be considered an expansion of Vishnu's energy. Vishnu, the super soul, is eternal and uncontaminated. How then may these pots be considered pure or impure?" Hearing this discourse on absolute knowledge, his mother was very much astonished and forced him to take a bath. कबू पुत्र सागे सची करीला सायना देखे दिव्य लोका asi bharila bhavana. Sometimes, talking her son with her, Mother Sachi would lie down on her bed and she would see that denizens of the celestial world had come there, filling the entire house. Sometimes taking her son, okay. Sachi bale yaha putra बोलहा बापेरे मतर agna paya prabhu chalila bahire. Once Mother Sachi told the Lord, "Please go call your father." Receiving this order from his mother, the Lord went out to call him. चलिते चरणे नुपुरा भाजे जान सुनी chama kita haila pita mata ramana. When the child was going out, there was a tinkling of ankle bells from his lotus feet. Hearing this, his father and mother were struck with wonder. मिश्रा कहे यही बड़ा अद्भुत कहिनी शिशुरा शून्य पदे केना नुपरेरा ध्वनि. Jagannath Mishra said, "This is a very wonderful incident. Why is there a sound of ankle bells from the bare feet of my child?" सच्ची कहे आरा एक अद्भुत देखिला दिव्या loka asi agana bharila. Mother Sachi said, "I also saw another wonder. People were coming down from the celestial kingdom and crowding the entire courtyard." Kiba kola hala kare bujite na pari kaha ke vastuti kare anumana kari. They made noisy sounds I could not understand. I guess they were offering prayers to someone. मिश्रा बाले कीचु हयुक चिंता कीचु नाई विश्वाम्बरेरा कौशला हौकी हौ एई मात्रा chai. Jagannath Mishra replied, never mind what it is. There is no need to worry. Let there always be good fortune for Vishwambara. This is all I want. Ekadina Mishra Putrera Chapalya Dekiya Dharma Siksha Dila Bhau Barstana Kariya. On another occasion, Jagannath Mishra, seeing these mischievous acts of his son, gave him lessons in morality after rebuking him greatly. रात्रि स्वपन देखे एक आसी ब्राह्मण मिश्रेरे कहाये कीचु सरोषद वचना. On that very night, Jagannath Mishra dreamt that a Brahmana had come before him speaking these words in great anger. Mishra tumi putrera tatva kichu na jana bharstana tadana kara putra kari mana. My dear Mishra, you do not know anything about your son. You think him your son, and therefore you rebuke and chastise him. मिश्रा कहे देवा सिद्धा मुनि के नाया एई से बड़ा है हौ मात्रा amara tanaya. Jagannath Mishra replied, this boy may be a demigod, a mystic yogi, or a great saintly person. It doesn't matter what he is, for I think he is only my son.
Okay, small interruption here. We in this material world do not know who God is. So we have to discover, we have to, as such, 99.97% people say we don't need him. I'm happy with my job, my family, with my hobbies and my money and whatnot. So the Vedas say that animals, they cannot ask, and human beings do not ask, and they are on the same level. It is said that one who cannot read a book and who doesn't want to read a book, they are both considered illiterates. So similarly, animals will not ask question about who God is, and those human beings who will willfully not ask, they are considered on the same level. So we are fortunate that somehow we have come in contact, and when we read, when we chant, all of this is meant to ask pertinent questions. Here we see that Jagannath Mishra, who is technically called a devotee of Krishna, but he has Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come as his own son. And he's saying, I don't give a hoot who is he. He may be a big demigod or a big sage or whatever. I only see him as my son. Now, isn't that some kind of an illusion? The answer is yes. That is an illusion. He's wrong. You should not be considering him as an ordinary boy. So there are two types of illusions, and this is one of the most important points of our philosophy. One illusion is which you and me are suffering from, and that illusion is, I don't have any connection with Krishna. I don't need him. I am happy wherever I am. And then we try to be happy with whatever we do. We get some mixture of, the Bhagavatam says, when you say, I don't want Krishna, you only get three experiences in life. Some will make you happy, some will make you miserable, and some will be mixed. But you know what is our soul's hankering? We want pure, unadulterated pleasure, which once started should not finish. In fact, should go on expanding, and it should be pure, unmixed. Now that we don't have anywhere. So When God comes and God has his family, mother, father, they're not exactly mother, father in the sense they gave him birth. They are his devotees, but they are serving in a capacity where they would like that Krishna comes to me and says, can you please feed me? I'm so hungry. That is motherly love. So there are 5 stages of pure spiritual love. The basic first stage is called neutral. There is no communication. So in the spiritual world, Krishna's shoes, Krishna's throne, the trees, the stones, cloud, just see around you, whatever you see around you, which cannot talk, like you're sitting on a chair. I am sitting on a nice chair. As I get up, should I thank the chair? Thank you so much for serving me today. Even if I say that, there is no reciprocation. But in the spiritual world, there is reciprocation. So something wants to serve Krishna as his shoes, as clouds, trees, stones, river, whatever. A little higher than that, where there is scope for emotions, that is called the servitor stage. A little higher is the friendship stage. Now there is equality. A little higher is the parental stage, which we see now here. Jagannath Mishra is an example of that. And the highest is the conjugal love stage. So these are all stages of love, and they're all spiritual. Strictly speaking, there is no higher or lower in them. But from the taste point of view, from the mellow point of view, some of them could be said to be a little subordinate, and some of them could be said to be higher. That's how it is explained. So the illusion is there. One illusion is I am my body. When I die, oh my goodness, I'm leaving. No, you're not dying. Your body is dying. Your body is already dead, always dead. Because you, the soul, are inside, therefore it appears to be alive. As much as a car, because if a driver inside moves, the car doesn't decide on its own to move. It may have gas, it may have everything intact. So this is the illusion which is called the illusion where you are separated from God, from reality. But Krishna's devotees, they are put into the illusion so that the pastime can proceed. There is a lot of happiness generated when the pastime proceeds. So Krishna doesn't want his devotees to say, actually, I know I'm not supposed to be afraid, but sometimes I'm afraid for God. No. When Mother Yashoda is afraid, she's fully afraid. Oh, what will happen to my son? And when there is thunder and Krishna jumps and embraces his mother, oh, I'm so afraid. She doesn't tell him, you're God, why you're afraid? No, she's completely under the feeling that I need to protect him. If I don't feed him, who will feed him? So just like an ordinary mother would do, she would do, but her love is like millions of mothers. Million also is an understatement. Million, billion, the numbers don't count. That is what motherly love is. So please proceed. You can continue. If somebody else wants to read, you can also read.
Yes, Prabhu, if someone wants to read, maybe they will take it on.
Okay. Anybody would like to?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Please go ahead.
Text 87. Putrera lala no shiksha, pitara swadharma, amina shikhale kaiti, ghani vedharma marma. Translation. It is the duty of father to educate his son in both religious and morality. If I do not give him this education, how will he know of it? Text 88. विप्राकाहे पुत्रायादि दैवसिद्धखाया स्वातसिद्धज्ञानतवे शिक्षा व्यर्थहाया. Translation. The Brahmana replied, if your If your son is transcendental mystic boy with a self-effulgent perfect knowledge, what is the use of your education? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Brahmana Jagannatha Mishra saw in his dream told him that his son was not an ordinary human being. If he were a transcendental person, he would have self-effulgent knowledge and thus there would be no need to educate him. Text 89. मिश्रा का भे पुत्र के ने नेह ना मिश्रा का है पुत्र के ने नाहि नारायणा तातापि पितारा धर्मा पुत्रेरा शिक्षाना. Translation. Jagannatha Mishra replied, even if my son is not a common man but Narayana, still it is the duty of a father to instruct his son. Text 90. ये माते दुन्हे कारेना धर्मेरा विचारा विशुद्ध वात्सल्य मिश्रेरा nahi jane ara. Translation. In this way, Jagannatha Mishra and the Brahmana discussed the principles of religion in the dream. Yet Jagannatha Mishra was absorbed in unalloyed parental mellow and did not want to know anything else. Purport. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.45, it is said, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is worshipped with the exalted hymns by all the Vedas and Upanishads, and by great personalities through Sankhya Yoga, in the mode of goodness, was considered by Mother Yashoda and Nanda to be their own little son. Similarly, Jagannatha Mishra also considered Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu his beloved little boy, although he is worshipped with all veneration by learned Brahmanas and saintly persons. Text 91. एतासु निद्विजा केला हाना आनंदिता मिश्रा जागिया हरा parama vismita. Translation. Being very pleased, the Brahmana left after talking with Jagannatha Mishra, and when Jagannatha Mishra awakened from his dream, he was very much astonished. Text 92. Bandhu badava stani swapna kahila suniya sakala loka vismita haila. Translation. He relates the dream to his friends and relatives, and every one of them was very much astonished to hear of it. Text 93. Yei mata shishu lila kare gaura chandra dhine dine pita matara padaya ananda. Translation. In this way, Gaurahari performed his childhood pastimes and day after day increasing the pleasure of his parents. Text 94. कथादीने मिष्टापुत्रेण हातकादिधीला अल्पादीने द्वादशा फला अक्षरा शिखीला. Translation. After some days, Jagannatha Mishra inaugurated the primary education of his son by performing the Hate Khadi ceremony. Within a very few days, the Lord learned all the letters and combinations of letters. Purport. The 12 phala or combination of letters are called refa, murdhanya, cerebral, na dhantavya, dental, na ma ya, ra lava, ra la, and hate khadi is the primary educational beginning. At the age of 4 or 5 years, on the auspicious day called Vidyarambha, marking the beginning of primary education, there is a ceremony worshipped Lord Vishnu, and after that, the teacher gives the child a long chalk pencil. Then, guiding the hand of the student, he instructs him how to write the letters of the alphabet A, E, etc. By writing big letters on the floor, when the child is a little advanced in writing, he is giving a slate for his primary education, which ends when he learns the two letters combinations, which are called phala, as mentioned above. Prabhuji, here Hate Kandi means, this is an explanation?
Hate means hand and
Okay.
khadi means
Yeah.
a chalk. So
Okay.
if you see the word here, Vidya Arambham. Vidya
Yes.
Arambham is the time
That
that
is the.
your education is now beginning.
Yeah.
So the Vedic culture means anything which begins is to be celebrated with a lot of ceremony, with singing, song, dance, celebration, fruits, flowers, whatever. So even the first day of school is like a very special thing. So one devotee nicely explained to me that your parents are planning to bring you in this material world. That is like a ceremony. There is a Vedic samskara. There is a program. There is a happy occasion for that. You come in this world, everybody is happy. There is celebration. Then the first grains you are fed, that is a celebration. Then your first birthday, that's a celebration. Then your marriage, and then your wife gets pregnant, and that's a celebration. Then your kids, and then you get old, you are 70 years old, that's a celebration. We have so many occasions where, okay, 70 years, 61, 71, 75. What about when you die? Even that is considered. If somebody has led a nice pious life, there is separation, people do cry, but the memorial is all of happy memories, how nice this person was, how much I owe him or her for whatever they did. And then the seventh day, eighth day, ninth day, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, right before even you are brought in this material world, and right after you have left this material world, there is a Vedic samskara celebration to bring you to auspiciousness. It could be some, it could be more, it could be a Vaishnav ceremony where they celebrate your going back to Godhead. So I feel very much supported. I feel very much optimistic. There is not much of optimism if you see your daily news or the newspaper or your mobile phone headlines or whatever. But Vedic wisdom assures her you don't leave the central point. And even if whatever experiences come your way, you would not be lost. So here is one simple example of a child beginning his education, and the teacher is guiding him by hand, is writing on the floor. Of course, none of this happens nowadays. I I I didn't have this ceremony. I went to an English convent school, St. Francis de Assisi High School, and we had one chapel, we had a cathedral next to us. So there was one subject called moral science, and some kind of things were taught to us. Nowadays, none of it. Everything is trampled by the modern social media culture. But people do hanker for it. Oh, I wish those days would come by when people would respect their teachers, when teachers would respect students. So why a complicated ceremony for a simple thing? You put Krishna in the center and people start respecting each other also. Take Krishna away, you don't respect Krishna, you also don't respect each other. That's the one form of logic.
Uh,
Please
Thank you,
continue,
Prabhuji.
Mataji.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Prabhuji, I have one more question in this
sure,
purpose.
sure.
Like here in the purport, they explain 12 phalas, like combination letters of Rekha. So,
Yeah,
like, what is the meaning of Murdhanya and Dantavya? Like, what is this?
yeah. Murdhanya means something you uh, pronounce where your tongue touches the upper part of your mouth. Dantavya means your tongue touches your teeth. It's so scientific, it is so clearly arranged. And this is what linguistics, today's science of linguistics, when they see Sanskrit, They say this is such a structured language. So these are some technical things. Murdhanya, like when you say pa, say pa and you have joined your lips. Say ta and your tongue has hit the back of the teeth.
Yes.
Say ka, kha, ga, and the sound comes from the passage down below. So that is how Sanskrit language, grammar, and everything is arranged. It's fantastic. It is so nice.
Oh, I have
Yes.
also one question.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
We read the pastime about how a Brahmana came into the Jagannath Mishra's dream,
Mm.
and so maybe I missed or maybe I didn't understood what was the whole purpose of him coming into the dream. Uh, means I didn't get that part.
Okay, so let me see. I think this is text 84 that Jagannath Mishra is telling his wife that somebody came in my dream and he's very angry and he's saying, hey, why are you treating your son like he's an ordinary son? Don't you know he's not an ordinary boy? And Jagannath Mishra, out of parental love, says, hey, he could be a demigod, a mystic yogi, great person. I don't give a hoot. I don't care. I think he's only my son. And I need to educate him. If I don't give him education, how will he know about it? So the Brahmana is giving a counter argument. But if your son is already self-effulgent with knowledge, what is the use of your so-called education? Now Jagannath Mishra is saying, even if my son is Narayan, still it's my duty to correct him. So they both kind of discussed. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is telling us, you and me, the audience, the listener, the readers here, that Jagannath Mishra is so much absorbed in the Vatsalya Ras, parental Ras mellow, he didn't know anything else. So the Brahmana is very pleased. Actually, he thought he would defeat Jagannath Mishra with his logic. But Jagannath Mishra defeated him with his logic. And when Jagannath Mishra awakened from his dream, he was very much astonished. And started telling everybody that, yesterday I had this dream. And they also were very happy. So this whole thing is nothing but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealing some few aspects of his Leela, sometimes through the discussion between his parents, sometimes this kind of a dream. But this whole thing is meant to educate you and me, the listener. That is our mind and heart is the target for this kind of discussion.
Sure, thank you very much.
Welcome. Mataji, go ahead. We are going to finish. We have only 2 more verses today.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Bhala Leela Sutra E Kaila Anukrama Iha Vistariya Chena Dasa Vindavana. Translation: This is the synopsis of the childhood pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, placed here within chronological order. Vrindavana Dasa Thakura has already elaborately explained these pastimes in his book Chaitanya Bhagavata, text 96. Ata eva e lela sankshepe sutra kaila punarukti bhaye vistariya na kahila. Translation: I have therefore made only a brief summary, being afraid of his repetitions. I have not elaborated upon this subject matter. Text 97. Shri Rupa Raghunatha Pade Yara Asa Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Dasa. Translation: Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunatha, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Dasa, narrated Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Purport: Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to Shri Chaitanya Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, 14th chapter, describe Lord Chaitanya's childhood pastimes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Wow, devotees, friends, Vaishnavas, we have completed one more milestone. Not that we have done something great, but one more chapter. Next chapter begins with Lord Chaitanya's pastimes of a certain advanced age. These are all the things which he did while he was a child. And just look at the Vaishnava humility, the culture of these authors. This is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writing Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he's saying that some of the stories are already described by Vrindavan Das Thakur in another book. I don't wish to steal the glory by saying that my presentation is better. Later, I hope that thing comes our way where he says that, oh readers, you are reading my book, I'm honored. But in order to get the best results, please read Vrindavan Das Thakur. He is much better than me, is much better than me. So even while reading the book, we understand what is expected of us as devotees. What do you mean by being a devotee? Have I completed a Gita course? That means I'm a devotee. I put a tilak. I've shaven my head. I'm wearing saffron clothes. I do. What exactly do we mean by a devotee? And Prabhupada once gave an answer. Srila Prabhupada, what will make you happy? If we all distribute books, we construct a temple, we have receivership at home, and we manage your institution. And Prabhupada's simple answer was, if you love Krishna. That's all. So in one sense, who doesn't like to fall in love? There are 10,000 songs coming every year about falling in love. And there could be 11,000 about how I'm betrayed by my love. That's the nature of this world. Spiritual life, in one sentence, is simply the art of knowing Krishna and falling in love with him. Now, of course, people say that, how do we love someone we don't know? This is the way you start reading, start hearing, and that love is already there in the heart. Just like firewood has fire in it. It just needs a small spark. And then that particular piece of wood bursts into flames because the capacity to burn is always there. So we'll stop here. Any announcements? I didn't see Mataji today. Maybe she could be busy with something.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Mata is not joined today. She has some personal work.
Okay. So what about tomorrow morning's Bhagavatam class? You have an announcement, just like you have every time?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Tomorrow we have a Bhagavatam class at 8:30 to 9:30.
All right.
Yeah.
So thank you all very much. Vancha kalpataru
Vancha kalpataru bhishya kripa sindhu vyavcha pattanam pavane
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.